because I have bits at the top.
And all in my mouth, all at once.
Hello and welcome to Biscuit, episode number 30, the Dirty 30, the Big 3-0. Here we are. It's only taken us a few months, but I am RJ Volosky, and with me as always are my co-hosts Jacob Gamble, TJ Rathburn. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Quite well.
All right. Yes, it is. Some people's. It's not my favorite holiday, but it's up there. Some people. Second favorite holiday, but it is Halloween. Yes, and if you've been watching the show for the last several weeks, we've been building up to this with our discussions of the spooky and the profane and the disturbing, and so we're gonna lighten up a little bit. But we'll get into that later. First up, how you guys been? What you been up to this week?
I've been really good. I'm super excited about a nerd thing that I can talk about on our nerd
Yay!
So there's okay, for anybody that doesn't know, which I don't think it would be anybody that's watching this, but I really enjoyed tabletop RPGs. And I kickstarted one 2 years ago. It was the third edition of a system that I really love called Exalted. And
you got it?
Yeah, you've talked about this on the show before, man.
Yes.
I finally got the PDF. It was funded on June 8th, 2013. I was supposed to have a PDF by that October and the book itself by that December. Now, 2 years after the delivery date, I finally got my PDF, and then hopefully it is looking like this December I'll actually have the book. And I only had to wait for 2 entire years.
Nice.
But I've been looking through it. The system looks great. I'm super excited. I'm probably going to jettison the campaign that I was going to run of D&D so that I can be like, guys, play Exalted. I am super
I
psyched.
will play that with you.
I'm in.
Yeah.
It was a great opportunity for, like, I still remember my little wood guy. Yep,
Yeah.
the dragon-blooded wood aspect. Is that what it is?
Yes, wood aspect.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. That's exciting. You didn't even. This is all genuine surprise and exuberance because TJ did not even tell us this in pre-show. But I am. Yeah.
Left it open.
All right.
And actually, it brings up something interesting that speaking of the tabletop thing, and we didn't talk about this either. But have you heard about the new pandemic deal?
What new pandemic deal?
There is a new pandemic game. It is called something season what? It's Legacy or something like that.
Oh, I've heard of Legacy. Yeah.
Yeah, this is I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Okay, so how about you tell us what it is first?
Are you guys both familiar with the Legacy format? Because it's not the first Legacy game. Risk had the first Legacy game.
Yes, Risk had the first Legacy game.
Okay.
Ultimately, it's a gaming system where it has an expiration date. Ultimately, you play it X number of times and it's done.
Well, that's not entirely true. Maybe it is with Pandemic, but it wasn't with Risk.
I thought, wasn't there? Okay, so I'm familiar with it now that you've described it. Isn't it wasn't it there a mechanic though where you had to like tear and throw out cards with Risk?
Yeah. Basically, what happened was, like, after the first game, you would open a little envelope and it would have instructions there. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they were, like, subtractive and sometimes they were additive. So, like, you might have to remove certain cards from the game, or sometimes you got additional things. Like, I can't remember which round it was, but the winner of that round got to pick an area where they had started and make that their homeland, so they always started with that no matter what, and they got bonuses for holding it. And like other little cool effects you could get. So by the time you played the full 10-round thing, you had your own unique version of Risk that nobody else in the world had. And it's really cool. I was gonna do it with some friends of mine, but it was hard trying to find people who were willing to do at least 10 games of Risk.
That's a pretty big time commitment. Yeah.
But and it's actually from the guy that did Risk Legacy actually went independent at this point. is now moved off from the major chains and is not in actually had a hand in this pandemic game.
Because Pandemic is that's Richard Wright.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is episode one.
Yeah.
Or season one, something like that. It's a 12-play game for $75.
Well,
right,
and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
But
I wonder if you can still play it afterwards.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because that's the idea is to not necessarily destroy it, just create a unique version of it. So, it's fun. It's interesting. I still want to play more Pandemic. I haven't gotten to play it as much as I'd like, but and this might be a fun way to play more Pandemic. And yeah, so.
Was it you guys that were telling me probably on the show about the? I think it was. I think it might have been Jay that brought it up. The video game with the expiration date where there's
oh yeah.
What's its face? The light game where you get where you catch the crystal and you turn to stone and and now they have another version of it. That and this seems to be a steadily increasing format. There is now a quote unquote real first person shooter version where you have one life. And it's the ultimate game of mercy, or this, that, and the other side, where you get locked out after it's all said and done.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool.
It's a wrap.
Did you guys ever play You Only Live Once?
No.
Was that what it's called? Something like that. It was a Flash-based browser game where you play through a little storyline. It was a very story-intensive experience. It was pretty short, but you play through this character's life, and then you die, and you can't play it again. And now you can get around it by going to a different computer or wiping your history or doing whatever.
Right.
But they did what they could to make it so that you could play it once.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for that. And I think we've talked about it before when we talk about ways that independent game developers can sort of expand because you can see they have the room to take these kind of risks. There's another example I saw about 5 or 6 months ago where it was going to be a dungeon crawler, and everybody who bought the game could observe the 8 people who got to play at a time. But once that person died, they were out, and another person from the audience was chosen to the dungeon. So yeah, it's
but
just
ultimately you could re-queue with that one. I mean,
no, you couldn't.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah, when you were done, you got to play once, and other than that, you're just in the audience.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's a cool way to merge this sort of rising popularity in the spectatorship of gaming with actual gameplay and engagement for the it's probably not anything I would do, but that's more of a taste thing, I think, than that it's actually something that's interesting to think about. But yeah, absolutely, this is our wheelhouse. This is the stuff we love to talk about. And so to bring it all back home, Pandemic Legacy, is it just called Pandemic
I
Legacy?
believe it was called Legacy.
Okay, so yeah, I think it'll be worth checking out. We'll see it. We'll keep an eye on that. But let's go ahead and move on to our main topic this week. That is Halloween and the fond memories we have. I don't think any of us rank it as our favorite holiday, but
it's close.
Yeah, and it's a well-loved holiday. And why? Why is it so well loved? For me, it was probably the candy and dressing up. I mean, that's a little bit on the nose.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what kids...
That's what kids like to do.
But I also...
Go ahead. You have a story?
I remember being a kid and, looking forward the entire year, not to the candy, because candy's great, but that wasn't the real draw. And it wasn't even dressing up, even though that was fun. I looked forward to, as soon as it hit October... everything was gonna get, spooky. There would be the Halloween themed TV specials,
right?
And I still probably somewhere have a VHS tape of things that I taped off of the Disney Channel of old scary cartoons and things. I loved that. I've always really enjoyed the trappings and the pastiche of the supernatural and things like that. And so being able, and because I was a morbid kid, like a really weirdly morbid kid in a way that I'm not so much anymore. But like I spent so much time, like I'd read and reread books about all the ways that you could die, like the statistically most likely ways you would die in different areas, like the deadly plants and animals and insects or whatever that lived around. Because for some weird reason, on some level, I guess I thought that if I understood all the things that could kill me, then they couldn't. you know?
Sure.
And so that macabre kind of morbid thing drew me into the Halloween season so heavily that I still love it to this day, even though I'm not so obsessed about dying like I used to be. Except for, of course, at like 1 a.m. when I'm trying to go to sleep and I start thinking about the fact that I'm gonna die someday.
Well, yes, we've all been there. No, for me, you've never thought about the fact that you've never confronted your own mortality, Jacob?
Not recently.
Not recently.
Ultimately, like, I guess I live in the ghetto, man. I mean, I confront my mortality on a daily basis.
Oh man,
but
I'm constantly thinking like, what if my kitchen caught on fire while I was in bed? Would I jump out the window and break my legs, or would I try to run through the fire? Like that sort of thing. Just like, which would be my preferred mode of handling this situation?
See, I don't even think about things like that. I mean, like for me, scary and horror and things like that is the unknown,
Well,
we've talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about that, and we promised we wouldn't be scary again, guys.
All right.
No.
So lighter note.
The thing that I wanted to touch on from what TJ had said is the TV specials, because I really liked the Halloween episodes on TGIF. My favorite was probably I don't know what year it was, but it was when Laura and Urkel got caught up in this bank robbery on Family Matters, and he like had this vision of himself beating. I don't know. I love that. I love that sort of thing. I've always loved the holidays, and especially the Halloween episodes of sitcoms.
The ones I remember the most were Roseanne and The Simpsons.
Simpsons is still going strong to this day. Yeah.
I was reading somewhere online that we're only a couple years away, and I think they're contracted to actually do it. But by the time they're done running, if they only ran through their current contract, we'd hit a point where you could watch a different Treehouse of Horror the entire month of October. Like one a day, the entire month. I'm excited about being able to do that sometime.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. But
Jay, you were about to say something. Yeah.
I was going to bring up The Simpsons as soon as you said the TV specials thing, and that's the one that I always think of, and the one that I'm actually always looking forward to. I mean, this year supposedly they're going to kill Bart Simpson on Sunday. Yeah, it is Sunday, and I mean, ultimately, anything that happens in the Treehouse of Horror is the Treehouse of Horror episodes is not canon, so to speak, or anything else. So it really.
That's why it was so weird when Kang and Kodos showed up in a legit episode.
Well, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Which, interestingly enough, was supposed to be the second movie. And then they decided they weren't going to do it, and they recycled the script down into that episode where they got abducted and went off, and they were put in like a zoo thing. But that was going to be the second Simpsons movie, and they decided to do it that way, and then realized after the fact that it was actually the first canon appearance of Kang and Kodos, the one-eyed alien creatures.
That is some first-class Simpson nerdery.
Yeah, that is definitely ranks up there, man. They actually had... And last week they had a Simpsons live auction from Sotheby's on eBay, and I put in for this just simply based on the fact that I wanted some of the script fronts, that the front of the script with some of the various characters, some of the various celebrity voices, including Leonard Nimoy. Had assigned one on there, and I was like, I want to see how much these things go for, and yeah, that was not in the
if they're
budget.
at Sotheby's, yeah, you're not gonna be playing that game.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be like $50.
Right.
I know, and it was saddening to me that these things went. I mean, I wanted to own one. I mean, The Simpsons was a piece of my childhood from 8 years old on. Man, I mean, this has been. I remember that. I remember them from the Tracy Ullman show because my parents wouldn't let me watch that, so I would sneak downstairs and watch it behind them.
They knew. They knew.
And then so I remember it from the Tracy Ullman show, and then the Simpsons Christmas special they let me watch, and then never let me watch an actual episode of the first season. No, you're going to bed. That's not appropriate for kids.
Have any of you ever looked into, because you bring up something here, and we're this is apparently becoming a Simpsons trivia nerdery. Have any of you ever looked into the tension between The Simpsons after it took off and Tracy Ullman, where she tried to sue them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was, because she absolutely hated the sketch while it was on the show. And then it takes off on its own, and it becomes like, well, it made the Fox network, and she's like, oh, I incubated it. And interesting stuff.
She wanted a portion of all the royalties and stuff because it was created under the auspices of her show.
Yeah. There's a really cool podcast I've been looking into on YouTube. It's Serious Jibber Jabber with Conan O'Brien. Yeah. And he gets a bunch of fellow ex-Simpsons writers in the room, and they just go on and on about this stuff. It's fun if you're into that sort of thing. Yep.
In a Halloween kind of note, I want to ask you guys a question.
All right. Ask away.
And I'm going to preface it with like a little story, kind of. On my street that I grew up on, there was this house that was just really creepy and had overgrown trees and was really run down, had an old lady living there, and everybody assumed she was a witch and that it was a haunted house, and we all ran by it instead of walking by it just because it was so creepy. Did you guys have that house in your neighborhood? Was this a universal thing, or was it just my neighborhood kids that were like super into that sort of thing?
I don't know. Between the time that I'm old enough to remember where I lived and the age of 14, I think I lived in 6 different neighborhoods. So probably the strangest thing that ever happened in one of the neighborhoods I lived in was something I was guilty of, because I was really, really into the Ninja Turtles at the time, and there was this drainage cover in the middle of the street.
I knew.
And so I get the crowbar. I'm like, I think I'm 10 years old at the time. I get a crowbar out of my dad's garage, and I just get out there and I start prying away at this thing. And this guy works for the city comes up. He's like, "What are you doing, kid?" I'm like, "I just wanted to see." He's like, "No, you don't mess with that." And I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, see, I was waiting for. I pried it open and couldn't get it back down, and some guy
somebody's car went in there.
That would have been yes. Thanks for the notes. I will incorporate that in the story next time I tell it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so let's go. And I've got one. Wait, actually, let me answer TJ's. To answer TJ's question, no, we never had anything like that either. I mean, it's similar to RJ. I mean, I moved nearly every year until we finally settled into Ann Arbor, and Ann Arbor was not. I mean, there were no in my subdivision. There was nothing creepy really. I mean, there was
a different kind of creepy in subdivisions. The Stepford-wise creepy.
Yeah. But, I mean, the creek behind it, like if you went across the creek that ran behind the houses, there was a farm, and that thing was kind of creepy, and we used to go explore that. But there was no, and I got shot with rock salt. And
that's where you got.
There was one of the places I lived was out kind of out in the country and had a big old patch of woods that we could romp around in, and I found a severed baby deer head out there once. That was, I don't know why it would have just been chopped off. I mean, I don't. Yeah, it was weird.
Okay. So yeah, but so
Maybe
let's
yeah. Okay, so
let's
moving
kick
on.
this up to a happy notch. What? Okay. Everybody has to have this, or at least I do. Okay, and this is one of those things where it might be like TJ's and it might not be. What is the Halloween costume you guys remember the most? Like,
The one that I
I
remember the
wore?
most.
yeah, that you wore.
Okay, go ahead, TJ.
Um, when I was in middle school, because I thought this was super clever, I dressed up really nice. I put on a pair of sunglasses and had a cane and held out just this flower directly ahead of me and tapped around with my cane because I was a blind date.
There you go.
And I love
Wow.
the costume.
Nice.
I like weird punny things.
Oh yeah.
Ago, I just wore a name tag that said "Life," and I had a huge bag full of lemons and just was throwing them at people.
Nice.
Those are my favorite costumes. That, or I'll just wear Renaissance gear.
The one that I remember the most was not because it was good. I wanted to be a candle. I don't know why. I was just kind of trying to come up with. My mom had fabric. She was going to sew it, and I had carte blanche. I'm like, let's make a candle costume. That'd be cool. I'd have a draped cylindrical type thing and a little wick coming out of my head, and it was going to be fun. And it did not turn out the way I planned. I looked like a ghost with a pointed hood. And I pretty much spent the entire night not wearing the costume that my mom had made for me and feeling bad about it, but I couldn't wear that costume.
Fair. I had a lot of...
So you were at least aware enough that at that point what that kind of looked like.
Okay. Luckily it wasn't a white. It would have been even worse, but I'm like, no.
Did anybody else have the ones when they were kids with like the plastic masks that would crack and then cut your face?
Yes,
Yep.
but my parents ultimately they stopped doing. My mom is very craftsy, and my father is also that has art skills. So like ultimately we wound up making our costumes because they're cheap. Let's be honest here. There was no yeah. But the best one, and this one was far and away just plain awesome, was for me was I was a Jawa.
Nice.
For the Star Wars. Yep. And so I had the hood. My mom did this burlap, hood deal, kind of Grim Reaper style. And then my dad affixed LED lights to the center of my glasses.
Oh, wow.
So, and ran wires down around my ears. So, I had the red eyes and everything. And it was sweet. And it was one of those costumes. That costume and my theater costume for The Wizard of Oz are the two things that I remember. And actually, I think I went that year as the Cowardly Lion. Are the two costumes that I remember the most and still absolutely love to this day and smile anytime I think about them.
Nice.
I didn't use any of my theater costumes when I was doing theater as a Halloween thing. Of course, most of the costumes that I wore, I'm like, I was in high school. I'm like, but like, it would have been weird stuff, like being a Shakespearean character.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
ye old Halloween costume. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
No, the probably the most out there costume I ever wore for theater was when I played the Reverend Mother in Nonsense. I still have packed away somewhere because I stole it from the costume mistress. She didn't want me to have it. I'm like, I'm keeping these, and it is the stuffed bra that I wore.
See, my most out there costume was probably the Shakespearean one, because other than that, it was all like normal clothes. Well, I guess maybe like my weird wild person burlap sack outfit from a different show. The thing I remember the most about my costume as Clyde, the Prince of Denmark, who got written out of Hamlet, was that I didn't have tights. They didn't buy me tights. They accidentally bought pantyhose. So they just had like 6 pairs of pantyhose, and I had to wear them all at once so they weren't sheer. So I was wearing 6 pairs of control top pantyhose under this little super short tunic. Super short tunic. And I'm like, man, this is so uncomfortable, but my calves look sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I know from my experience there, it's if you don't shave your legs, tights, pantyhose, really uncomfortable.
For me, it was the control top bit, because I have bits at the top. And it was really tight.
Fair enough. All right. Well,
okay.
What else we got? Well, I guess the other thing about Halloween, you probably already got it if you watched our No Particular Order, and that's the candy. But we went on about candy at length, and it still deserves a mention here because
yes, it does. Because
candy
it's why
makes
we're
the
fat.
Yeah. Oh no, it's because it's because I don't exercise as much as I should. Really, is what it boils down to.
I think, frankly, it's beer and pizza that made me fat.
Yeah. And general malaise and lack of exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many pizza boxes do you have sitting up on your thing right now?
Well, I can't see it from where I'm sitting, but all of them.
All of them, yeah.
Like, I don't know that I could fit another one up there. I have to take them down soon. Okay, nice. So for those of you who don't know, because you've never been in my apartment, I am slovenly and a monster. And when I finish a pizza box, I usually don't take them down immediately to the garbage. I reach up,
or at all, apparently.
Yeah, I reach up and I put them on the top of my kitchen cabinets, and I just line my kitchen with pizza boxes, and then I take out like 20 of them at once.
Now, have you thought about making furniture with these things, man? I mean,
I don't think they would support me because I eat all that pizza.
That's like me with beer bottles. You know, I don't always return my beer bottles, but when I do, I look like a raging alcoholic.
Oh yeah, I took back like $23 worth of bottles not that long ago, or not even bottles. It was all cans, so it was just like bag after bag of cans of beer, and I'm like, oh no. But I'm so lazy about it. I don't take them back until I've like literally no available surfaces that I can put them on anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's time to take them back.
Yep.
Like twice a year.
So, just so you know, ladies, he is single. But I think we're gonna wrap up the show. This has been fun, but I'm not sure that our viewers want to have this kind of conversation when they can't join in. But if you do want to join in on the, just leave us a comment. And you know what? This is pretty low rent gig. Just be available when we're taping. Maybe we'll get you on the show. You know, let us know if you're interested in that too.
Oh shoot, we might even work around your schedule.
Yeah,
we are.
Maybe it depends on who you are. Depends on who you are. And you know who I'm. Yeah, you know who you are.
You. Yes. You.
Anyway, thanks so much for watching. You know all the stuff to do. Tell your friends to do it too. Why don't you? You know, the thumbs up, the subscribing. It all helps. And we do this for each other. We do it for you. Thanks again for hanging out with us. And have a happy Halloween, a safe Halloween, because it is a scary time. All right. For Jacob Gamble and TJ Rathburn, I am RJ Velosky, and we will see you guys next week. Oh wait, no, we won't.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah,
No.
we are going to be off next week because I'm moving. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. So we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.